My name is Iman Gadzhi, and these are 10 things I can't live without. Now, I've done a similar video like this in the past, but I thought, you know what? It's a new year, there's new essentials. Obviously, every year growing, morphing as a person, and there's probably a few things on the table that will actually shock you. So with all that being said, let's get into the first essential. All right, so my first essential, first thing I do, like literally the first thing I do every single morning is I wake up, I have a liter of water, and I have my electrolytes. Now my electrolyte of choice is obviously my own company, Big Day. We got watermelon, we got raspberry. As I said, I open up one of these bad boys and I drink this first thing in the morning. We got 6 electrolytes in here, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, and quite frankly, they taste amazing, not super salty, which is some of the issue with a lot of the other electrolyte brands. And once I'm done with starting off my day with electrolytes, that is when I get into having one of these, which is a Big Day can. We have 80 milligrams of caffeine in here, so nothing too crazy. I don't want to be having crazy amounts of caffeine first thing in the morning, but we still also have electrolytes in here. So this is what I do first thing in the morning. Have my electrolytes, get ready for training, and then on my way to boxing, on my way to tennis, I'll be drinking one of these. Now the only issue with these is I can't stop drinking them, which is also why we're coming out with some non-caffeinated versions in the future. But my main goal with the first Big Day product, we also don't have lime here today, but create something that was refreshing. You can drink it all day, isn't sugary, doesn't have that like weird Red Bull taste, doesn't have that really disgusting like sickly taste in your mouth, and also have something that's a respectable amount of caffeine. You can have easily 2-3 of these in a day without having crazy crashes. And most exciting is within hours of launching, these sold out. We literally just restocked them, so I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description. Too good. So my next essential is pot noodle. Got a few flavors here today, and I've probably been having these for the last 15 years. I still eat these to this day because it just reminds me of my childhood. I grew up with single mom, very typical story, very common story. But a lot of times, obviously, my mom would be out the house working. And when I was younger, especially a teenager, and you're hungry at home, you want something to eat, these things slap. So we got a few flavors here today. We got original curry, Chinese chow mein, Bombay bad boy, and beef and tomato. And yeah, I mean, really, there's not much else to say. Obviously not the most nutritious meal, but at the end of the day, eating these just kind of remind me of my childhood, remind me of when things, I guess, weren't as good as they are now. And that's pretty much why I still like to have at least one of these a week. All right, so next up are my car keys. Now, these are just the cars that I have at the house right now. I have some in storage, I have some at my other properties, and I even have 2 right now that I'm sending to Europe for the summer. But long story short, I started buying cars around a year ago, and like most things I do, I got into it quite quickly. So first off, we got Range. Now Range Rovers, if you had to give me one car, I would take a Range Rover. This is a SV, which means special vehicle. This is the top of the line Range Rover Vogue that they make, whatever, special interior trim, blah, blah, all this stuff. The point is, Range Rovers are super versatile, whether you're driving or you're being driven. Sometimes, occasionally, I'll drive the Range Rover if I just want a comfy drive, but most of the time, I'm in the back, coming from boxing, tennis, just being driven. All right, so next up, we got Rolls-Royce Phantom. This is the Big Daddy. This is the best chauffeur car that's ever been made in history, ever. Nothing comes close. In fact, a Rolls-Royce Phantom is a car that you will never ever drive yourself. It's not the fanciest looking in the inside. I mean, like the most flashy looking or the greatest tech or this or that. But when you sit inside a Rolls-Royce, and particularly a Phantom, because I'll be honest, for me personally, the other Rolls-Royces, they just don't do it for me. Even Cullinans. If you're gonna get a Rolls-Royce, especially one to be driven in, get the Big Daddy, get the Phantom. It is just, nothing comes close, if I'm honest. Next up, we have one of my favorite zip around cars. This is a GT3. Honestly, if you had a Range Rover and a GT3, you're pretty much set for life. You could have a Turbo S, they're more comfortable, they're even faster, but at the end of the day, the responsiveness of the GT3, I would just take it any day over a Turbo S. So yeah, GT3, just one of the best cars ever made. Now, next up, we got a Maybach. This is a Night Series 1 of 5 in the UAE, and I have a 1 of 1 with that specific trim. And I know that people absolutely love the Maybach. I mean, yes, my car is beautiful, top of the line, every single option, blah, blah, all this stuff. I said this when I bought my Range Rover, and I still stand by my opinion. Obviously, I never drive the Maybach. It's just a chauffeur car once again. I would genuinely rather be driven in a Range Rover SV, either the regular SV with the center console or the Signature Suite. I would take being driven in a Range Rover compared to a Maybach any day. Very unpopular opinion, but coming from someone who literally owns all of the nicest chauffeur cars. By the way, Maybachs are still incredible. Just for me, it's too much going on sometimes. So the next one is probably my favorite car out of my entire car collection all over the world, and that is my Mini Cooper. Now this car has done 700,000 kilometers, all original parts. I get nervous whenever I drive it because it stalls all the time. But this car, I swear, out of every single car that I have, it gets the most attention, it gets the most respect, and maybe it's just, you know, living in Dubai, people see nice cars all the time, but when you see a Mini Cooper, like this tiny little thing, and as I said, it's all original, I don't know, people just love it. It puts a smile on their face. Now I have a heart attack because it's really difficult to drive the car without stalling. Good luck going up any hill or any sort of ramp, anything like that. But yeah, if I ever just want to leave the house and just go on a quick 20-30 minute drive just to clear my mind, this is the best car for it. So next up, we have a G63. What do I say about this car? It's just a great car. It's an all-around car. You can still always hear the sound and the power under the bonnet. I know this sounds ridiculous, but to me, it's a beater car. It's a good utility car. It's a, hey, I know that I'm gonna go to boxing and be sweaty. For me, it's just one of the most iconic cars that's ever been made. And if you have the chance to, I just think it should fit into anyone's car collection because it just does the job. You want to get somewhere relatively comfortably, but still have a little bit of power under the bonnet and still have a little bit of fun, you know, primarily in a straight line. And this car just, it always just does the trick. Next up, we have a Ferrari. What do I say about it? I've tried my best to like Ferraris. I've honestly driven so many of them, and all modern Ferraris, they just don't do it for me. Whether that be an SF90, whether that be the new 296. For me, the only Ferrari that kind of excites me is 812, of course, V12, naturally aspirated. Sounds insane, but I don't know, just every time I'm in a Ferrari, they just like, they do so many things wrong. I hate the interface, the touch buttons for so many things. There's always error, failures. I don't know, good to have one in a collection, but yeah. And then my latest car that I picked up a few days ago, Lamborghini. I am not a Lamborghini guy at all. I absolutely despise, you know, I've always kind of not been a fan of Lamborghini and sort of the idea around them. I guess primarily sort of the people that drive it, especially living here in Dubai, you kind of see a specific kind of person that drives a Lamborghini. But this car is just incredible. I got a Lamborghini Sterrato. There's only 1,500 in the world. It is a V10 supercar for off-roading. I got it a couple days ago, and tomorrow I'm gonna take it to the desert. But even this day to day, it's just such a comfortable supercar. Now, if I had to pick 3 out of these, 100% Rolls-Royce Phantom, best chauffeur car ever. Porsche GT3, just enough fun and just enough like flair with the wing, but not too in your face like a GT3 RS, even though I have one of those coming next month.
What?
Oh, I didn't tell you?
I gave up.
Oh yeah. And then the last car, if I had to pick 3, is range. Once again, range is amazing if you want to be driven, if you want a comfortable ride, or if you want to drive yourself. You got options. So those are my 3 top picks. Now my next essential are earpods. I was an AirPod guy for a long time, and quite recently I've been getting back into earpods. I don't know what it is, but when I see someone walking and they're using earpods, I just instantly like them more. Like I'm like, I like you. You're a cool person. I don't know. These are just so iconic. I've started taking calls on them again. The mic on these are insane. If any of you guys have ever been on calls and using AirPods, it sounds like you're drowning. The audio quality on these are just amazing. You know what, maybe it's even just moving to Dubai. Maybe it's moving to Dubai, like pretty much just all local people I see, they always use the wired earpods. So I just had this sudden urge a few months ago to just start using earpods again. They're cheap, you can keep them in multiple places in the house, in your cars, and yeah, it's just, you always got an audio source on hand. You know, you want to take calls, there you go. You got your good mic, you got something in here, and there we go. Earpods over AirPods any day.
What's the last song you played in your phone on Spotify?
Let's check. Yeah, I've been listening to House actually. Martin Lou, My Love for You. Yeba's Heartbreak.
Oh, no. Beat the ready?
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Beat the ready?
No, I was in the GT3 going for a coffee run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sunset vibes. All right, next up we got another one of my companies where the product is always sold out, and these are the Gadzhi G1s. We've got the blue light blockers here, and then we've got sunglasses. These come in 3 colors each. And while I was on my coffee run earlier, I was wearing these. So these are the matte black sunglasses. We call these the Black Velvet Edition. So I'm always wearing these, especially I wear these a lot in meetings in the day because I made the lens specifically so you could still see my eyes. Sometimes I feel a little uncomfortable being in meetings, still wearing sunglasses unless they can see my eyes. So that's why I made made these. So when I leave the house, these pretty much stay on my face all throughout the day. And then when I come back and I'm working on my computer for multiple hours, I wear these, the blue light blockers, or I wear these at night before going to bed. Just block out as much blue light as I can, help with eye strain, help with headaches when you're working on your computer too long. And very exciting news, these are both restocked, the sunglasses and the blue light blockers. I'll leave a link in the description. Now I do warn you, by the time you see it, they'll probably be sold out. These always sell out in like an hour, 2 hours when we restock. We just did our biggest restock ever, and I mean ever. So hopefully, fingers crossed, these last more than a few hours this time. So my next essential is cigars. And also with my cigars are my tools and my accessories. So we got a lighter, we got a cutter and a stand. This is a full set. My friends always say, oh, it's so difficult to buy you gifts. And I always say, no, it's not. Just literally buy me something cigar related and I will be happy. Either some fresh cigars. I like pretty much everything Cuban except for Partagas. For my palate, usually that's a little too heavy. So we got 4 cigar holder here. We got a lighter here. You got soft flame, you push up. You got blue flame. Added benefit of these is I play around with this a lot. I just fidget and it just keeps me entertained. And then finally, we have a cutter, but this is cool because this does a straight cut, as you can see, but it also doubles up as a stand. So once you've cut your cigar, once you've lit your cigar, you can have it held right there. For me, that's useful sometimes because you go to places and they don't have cigar specific ashtrays. They just have like the normal cigarette ones. So this way I can rest my cigar there perfectly, continue on with my nice conversation with friends or a meeting or whatever it is. And yeah, so I started smoking cigars back in 2018, growing up in London. Once I started to have some wealthier, older friends, some business mentors of mine at the time. I don't know, maybe it's less common in the US because it's harder for you guys to get Cuban cigars, but like London is one of the big cigar smoking capitals in the world. So yeah, I got introduced to cigars pretty young. And then especially for the last 4 years, I've been very into my cigars. For me, it's that one moment of relaxation in the day. It's a chance for me to commit to a conversation with someone, you know, have a beautiful conversation over a cigar, enjoy someone else's company, enjoy a meeting. Or sometimes if I ever feel like I need some sort of me time, I just have a cigar on my own. I live on the beach, so I hear the fish in the water at night. I sit there, I reflect, I think, I plan, I strategize, and I do that all with a beautiful cigar in my hand. All right, so next up I have my film camera. I've been using these for, once again, been shooting with film since 2019 was when I bought my first film camera. This was actually my first film camera. This is a Contax T3. This is by far the best film camera out there. You just open up, it's a point and shoot. So you go like that, flash goes off, F needed in the situation, but it's all automatic. And then obviously you go get your film developed. This is a little bit more advanced version of it. It has the flash on top. You have the interchangeable lenses, and this can either be fully automatic or you can use manual, but focusing on this is fully automatic. So you can still give this to a friend easily and they'll know how to use it. This you need to be a little bit more advanced with. So this I actually shoot with myself. So this is a Leica M6. I love the sound of that when you reload. Oh, amazing. Is there any film in here? Otherwise I would have just wasted like $10. I just love this sound. So satisfying. Sounds like a gun going off. You know what this sounds like actually to me? I don't know why this reminds me of a G-Wagon when you close the doors. Something about it. Maybe it's because they're both German brands. But yeah, this is an amazing camera, but you kind of need to know what you're doing here. You know, I've had so many people over the years try to emulate sort of my look and my style and the aesthetics. And people always ask, oh, you know, what filter do you use and this and that. And most of the time, I would say 70% of the content that you see is shot with film. The other 30%, if it's a video or a photo, just iPhone, and that's it. There's really no magic behind it, but I just love shooting with these because it's just so like, everything just looks like an amazing 80s party. And the funny thing with film, you could be at the worst venue having the worst time, but something about film just makes every moment seem like special and magical. So yeah, these are definitely my essentials. They come with me everywhere, especially this guy right here. Now, next up, I got my watches. Everyone knows that I'm quite an avid watch collector. I think at this point, I still have over 100 pieces in my collection. So we got some of my watches here. This is a Patek Philippe Celestial. This watch is incredible. If we're talking in terms of complications, I mean, yes, sure, maybe it's not super necessary to know what the constellation is and understand the alignment of the stars that day, but I just think it's such a special watch. And funnily enough, I put sort of some more well-known watches here, but these days, most of the time I'm wearing leather piece watches. So whether it be this, whether it be my enamel world time, whether it be something like a 5205, yeah, I just kind of like dress watches these days. But as I said, next to it here, we've got a new Platinum Daytona, the anniversary edition. You can see here, this has the open case back. As far as I know, I was one of the first 3 people in the UK to get this watch. Next to it, we have a Vacheron Overseas. This is, in my opinion, the most beautiful blue dial out there right now. One thing that I love about this watch and love about watches like that in general is when you can remove the links and then you can put on a rubber strap as well. So I have a rubber strap to match the color of the dial. It's just nice because it's almost like 2 watches in one. Next to it, we have a 6702. This is definitely my favorite RM I have. I just like how thin profile it is. I usually like my watches sort of more sleek and discreet. I say discreet, this is on a big red strap, but the whole point of RM is having fun, not taking yourself too seriously. And yeah, that definitely fits the purpose. On my wrist, I got a 5712. If I had to have one watch for the rest of my life, it would probably be this one. Sometimes I actually feel a little uncomfortable at this point wearing rose gold with different brands, because I feel like in certain situations it's not appropriate. But I don't know what it is about Patek Philippe. I don't know, when I wear rose gold Patek Philippe, I just feel like it's not too in your face, unlike maybe a rose gold Rolex or a rose gold AP. Now, I started watch collecting at the age of 8. My first ever watch was a Timex Expedition. I still have it to this day, and I very much look forward to passing that on to my son in the future if, that's God's plan. All right, so next up we have this, which is a Remarkable, and this is what I use for note-taking. And I still write with a pen and paper, and I'm also very into pens. I actually have a bit of a pen collection. But this right here is what I take all of my notes on, and I've actually gifted this to so many of my team. It feels like you're actually writing, and in here I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of notes, and it goes with me everywhere in the world. I can access it from anywhere in the world. And yeah, all in all, this is one of the few sort of tech gadgets that I just use all the time. I just love the feeling of writing notes on here. Excuse my writing, I write like a 4-year-old. But to me, it's just, yeah, it's a gratifying feeling writing on this. And the other thing is there's no distractions. Sometimes with an iPad, you get notifications and this and that. All you can do on here is write, and that's it. So for me, and for that purpose, it's perfect. Now, the last thing I can't live without is a bit of fun and downtime with the boys. And what that means is this, FIFA. Now, I know some of you guys will be shocked because I have very publicly and very openly been against gaming, and I will say that I still am very against someone sitting in a room on their own playing video games, or even playing video games with their friends on the other side of the world. But if you're in the same room with your friends, you can banter, you can joke with them. Now, I live in a house with some of the people that I work with that are also some of my friends. So, living in a house with the boys, we ended up deciding to get a PlayStation 6 months ago. And yeah, a couple times a week, we'll play a game of FIFA. It gets competitive, it gets heated, but the most important thing for me is that it's a chance to kind of just take my mind off work, laugh. We laugh our asses off when we play this, especially 2v2. And yeah, I'm not opposed to video games at all. Just make sure that it's at an appropriate time and place, and it's for a good reason. So these days, with so much going on with my life and work, this is a much needed rest. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed those 10 things I can't live without. Probably some surprised you, some shocked you. But yeah, check back in next year because let's see what's on the list then. And apart from that, as always, I'm watching from afar and I'm rooting for you.